Hello everyone, my name is Ilia and for the last 20 years I have been working in IT. I have some knowledge of Microsoft Cloud technology and on this channel I share my experience. Today we will be talking about Hybrid Configuration Wizard. Hybrid Configuration Wizard is a tool to create a bridge between your on-premise infrastructure, I mean Exchange Server, and Exchange Online. Rumor has it that the utility was created by devil to steal your time, and sometimes it looks like true because Hybrid Configuration Wizard creates so many issues, problems at the deployment stage. Today we will try to do two things. First of all, we will try to understand how it works and how to minimize our own deployment errors. And the second one is to understand what to do if something goes wrong. Let's start with theory. Virtually almost any company using Exchange cannot migrate to Exchange fast enough. Sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes months, sometimes years, and the main reason of it is the size of mail data. And also sometimes the company is simply not ready to transfer data, for example, because of non-updated workstations. In addition, people are afraid to move quickly to the cloud. They want to do it gradually, testing the features, etc. We can only migrate for months if migration process is transparent to end users. To get this transparency, we need to set up coexistence between the two mail systems. And you could ask me, what does transparency mean? It means that such things like message transport, mailbox moving or mailbox migration, common global address list, free busy work, full access work must be working for both systems and must be working between systems. Hybrid Configuration Wizard is an utility which makes all the settings almost automatically. And the first thing you should do before starting Hybrid Configuration Wizard is to figure out if your system is ready to build a hybrid. A hybrid scenario supports only Exchange 2010 or higher. In addition, your system must have the latest cumulative update or previous release. Exchange 2007 doesn't support, but there is a catch. You can deploy additional Exchange Server 2010 or 2013 and use MRS proxy server to migrate mailboxes hosted on Exchange 2007. But I would say it's a dubious pleasure. When I say that Exchange works well, I mean that Exchange uses a commercial certificate, that Exchange doesn't have any issues with the client connections. I mean that auto-discover service was configured correctly and works, and Exchange passes the test successfully. I mean testconnectivity.microsoft.com. The system, your system, should work properly. The next point. Each mail domain that you will run in the hybrid must be added to Azure Active Directory. The process of adding to Azure Active Directory is pretty simple. You just write or add a entry to the external DNS zone, and this confirms that you manage the domain. And of course, you add only those domains that should work in the hybrid. Hybrid deployments are supported in all Microsoft 365 or Office 365 plans that support Azure Active Directory synchronization. Azure Active Directory synchronization must be configured. It's a requirement. And here it doesn't matter what authentication protocol you use. You could use pass-through authentication or password hash synchronization or ADFS. It doesn't matter. The hybrid deployment feature is not mandatory, but for the full Teams experience, we must turn it on. And when you do it, some attributes are written back from Azure Active Directory to on-premise Active Directory. and it's called Exchange Hybrid Write Back. And yeah, you can enable it before hybrid deployment at the step of configuring Azure AD Connect. And there is one more option, Exchange Mail Public Folder. This option enables support for public folder by synchronizing a specific set of attributes for mail-enabled public folders. So when you do it, they become represented in Azure Active Directory. And yeah, if you have mail-enabled public folder, you must enable this feature also. And the last check is the lack of heritage of the old hybrid. Probably somebody in the past already tried to deploy hybrid with your infrastructure, and the presence of old settings can prevent you from making a new hybrid. How do we verify this? First of all, it can be done with 3 different PowerShell commandlets. Get hybrid configuration shows the hybrid configuration for your Microsoft Exchange organization. And yeah, here you can see a list of used Exchange servers, information about enabled encryption features, and many others. Intra-organization configuration or intra-organization connectors are not needed in normal life. I just give you more so you understand what other settings can be besides the hybrid settings. And yeah, in case these objects were created by unsuccessful attempts to deploy hybrid and you see it, yeah, you can safely remove them and start from the beginning. A process of deployment hybrid configuration wizard is pretty simple, but it can stop at the beginning. And one of the most favorite search questions, why I cannot run hybrid configuration wizard? Usually you open a hybrid configuration wizard in Exchange Admin Center, but it will be working only if you use Explorer. And you cannot use Edge or Chrome or other browsers. And yeah, if all is well, you see the installation window, but if you don't see this window, there are several ways to cope. The first way is to add a link, arcade.ms, to local intranet settings of your Explorer. Normally it helps, but just a few days ago I couldn't run hybrid configuration wizard. Nothing helped, I tried everything. When I clicked on a link in Explorer, a little scan info bar would appear at the bottom of the window, but that was it. The solution was pretty simple. For the application file type, I changed a default application to Explorer. And yeah, it started to work. I connected a link where a guy described the same problem, and if you have something like that, just open it and do the same. If you already installed Hybrid Configuration Wizard and see a shortcut on the desktop, it doesn't mean that you can now open it by clicking on the icon. I know 2 different ways to run Hybrid Configuration Wizard after deployment. First of all, yeah, of course, if you cannot run it by clicking on a shortcut. First of all, you can open CMD, run as administrator, and run Hybrid Configuration Wizard from CMD. Sometimes it helps, but it doesn't always help. Sometimes you have to open the Exchange control panel again and run through it. Now I want to be talking about a process of Hybrid Configuration Wizard deployment. I don't see the point in commenting on simple things like entering admin data, etc. We will focus on the important things only. And the most important step is to choose the type of your hybrid. But no, there is nothing to choose from. If we talk about minimal hybrid deployment doesn't include the following features. For example, cross-premise FreeBSD sharing doesn't work. Tailless secured mail flow between your on-premise and Exchange Online is not supported. Cross-premise eDiscovery doesn't work. Outlook Anywhere and Active Sync redirection for migrated user is also not included. And yeah, many other things like automatic retention for archive mailboxes. In general, I would say that it's not really a hybrid. It's a quick way to transfer your mailboxes to the cloud and forget about it. And I do not consider this hybrid option because, as usually, all, even small migrations are free for weeks of coexistence. Yeah, I already said about it. And firstly, it's not always possible to synchronize all mailboxes in a few days and do for this minimal hybrid configuration. And secondly, you always want to do everything in stage. Yeah, at least so to ensure yourself against mistake. That's why full hybrid is my choice. At this step, you can see one more option, organization configuration transfer. This option allows you to move some settings from your on-premise Exchange server. And yeah, you should understand that the hybrid itself does not replicate your settings. If you had some retention policy, this policy will not be migrated. All the hybrid does is to provide transport, user portability, transparency, and transparency between two systems. And for all other things, you need organization configuration transfer. And there is one more very important point. If you change something important, change some settings in your Exchange on-premise, you have to run this procedure a few times. You have to run it more and more and more. Every time you change something, I mean organization configuration transfer. This is not like Azure Active Directory replication. It's just one-time migration. And Hybrid Configuration Wizard itself doesn't give you a permanent replication. What does it do? It connects, do some settings, and that's it. And if you updated your certificate, if you added additional mail domain, maybe change something else, you have to run Hybrid Configuration Wizard again. All you have to memorize that Hybrid Configuration Wizard provide or configure everything only one time when you run it. If later you change something on-premise, you have to run it again with organization configuration transfer or without it. The next step is the choice of domain that should work within your hybrid. And yeah, you don't have to choose all of them. Maybe some domains will remain on-premise. If you choose here, you should make sure that all domains are added to Azure Active Directory and that they were validated. Next point, you must choose which domain whose auto-discover service will be used by the cloud to connect to Exchange. But if auto-discover for all your domains are set correctly, you cannot use this option and just leave false for all domains. Our next choice is the type of hybrid topology, classic or modern. And this is a case where the classics are better. The modern approach has a number of limitations. I do not know, maybe something changed, but it didn't support mail tips, message tracking, multi-mailbox searches. Modern hybrid authentication is also not supported with the hybrid agent. And you also have only one migration endpoint. You can ask myself, what's the point of this stump? Modern hybrid works with hybrid agent, which is installed on the Exchange server and allows do not open ports from the internet to a client access server. But at the same time, hybrid agent will not handle any SMTP mail flow, so you still need a public certificate for mail flow between your Exchange Online and Exchange on-premise environment. And you still have to open ports like a port like 25 for incoming and outgoing SMTP connection. To me, it seems like a flood option that's only needed for certain cases. So you don't have much choice. The full classic hybrid is the best choice, and I advise you to choose it right way, because the change of topologies after the first deployment, yeah, it's supported, but it doesn't always go smoothly. If for some reason you need a modern hybrid and you can read German, I really recommend an article. The next step is to specify the account under which the cloud will connect to your system. Can I use my admin account? My colleagues in Germany would answer Jein. It means yes and no at the same time. If you have full Exchange server permissions, you can use your normal account and set up your account here. But usually such administrative accounts also have domain or enterprise admin permissions, or have membership in domain admin groups. If you do not want to provide full privileges, full permissions for a technical account, just create a new one. This account will be used to migrate mailboxes and must possess the organization management and recipient management roles. Just create a new account, delegate 2 roles, and you can use this account here. Other steps are pretty simple. You just have to choose a server which is the best candidate to create a send connector, and you also have to specify a certificate that will be used to establish SMTP TLS encrypted connections with Exchange Online. And if you have been lucky, you should see such a window. Otherwise, you will have to study the hybrid installation logs. These are text logs, understandable enough, but I hope you will never need them. In fact, a hybrid is a great thing to really gives you a full-fledged experience when users are distributed across 2 different systems. But there are things that don't work out of the box. For example, Azure Active Directory Connect doesn't automatically synchronize send-as permissions between your on-premise Exchange and Office 365. It means if user A had send-as permissions to user B, and then user A was moved to the cloud, he will not be able to send emails on behalf of user B. However, send-as will work if you manually add send-as permissions in both environments. Normally, I do it this way. In the beginning of migration, I export all send-as permissions to a file. Then I move part of the mailboxes to Exchange Online, of course, indicating the mailboxes in the CSV file. And then I run the second part, which creates for each migrated user his send-as permissions according to the file. Pretty simple script, but if you need these lines, the link will be provided in the video description. Yeah, this is the end. Thank you for watching this video. It wasn't exactly deep dive, but hopefully there was some useful information for you. Good luck and see you in 1 month on my YouTube channel.